What's cracking, everybody? XehrFelrose here, bringing you some Pokemon Go Battle League content. In today's video, we've got a really exciting shoutcast from one of my patron Discord members, featuring a team that's in the patron Discord, which you should join by clicking that link in the description and getting all the access to the teams before they hit YouTube and all the secrets that I've got floating around in my head that I put in that Discord. Great stuff. Let's jump straight into the battles. Exciting team. I just had this feeling that Shadow Magnezone was, or even Magnezone in general, was going to be the stuff this season. And look at it. It's right. Shadow Magnezone catches the lead on the floor, just forces the opponent to swap into their Snorlax, and that means this Wild Charge is going to force a shield off of them, and now Dragonite can come in pretty comfortably going for superpowers, take switch, and let the Magnezone continue to stay on the back of that Florges. Skull Bash from the opponent, though, getting a shield, or not getting a shield, getting a defense drop, or defense boost. Goodness gracious, my brain is just backwards. Dragon Claw gets the shield. The opponent has no shields remaining. Big Howie 1 is going to go for the shield against this body slam here, and the superpower should, I mean, I would like to think superpower is going to be enough, but going for extra farm just in case. Pretty incredible move here. Got, you know, good patience, making sure that that floor just gets as little farm as possible. Still able to go for a superpower and do some damage to the floor just before going down as well. Able to maintain alignment and have shield advantage. This is dangerous. The opponent comes in with a Haxorus, and we've got what we've expected. The Haxorus is always in the back. Haxorus is on like every other team, so this back line is equipped specifically to handle those pesky little Haxoruses that are all over the place, and Magnezone just core breaks just about every other team that you've seen. I see so many teams running Gyarados and, you know, some fairy type, or Gyarados and Togekiss. You know, Gyarados Togekiss is very common too. There's so many teams that just get core broken by Magnezone, making it such a strong pick. And then we're going to be able to go for this Aqua Tail here to do a little bit of chip damage. Magnezone just has to come in and go for a Wild Charge, and it doesn't even honestly need to shield anything in order to do that. Got that click here. Hope that doesn't happen, man. There's a couple of times in this videos this week I've got this random click in my ear, and I hope it doesn't cap through the video. That would really be unfortunate, so if it does, I'm sorry. Alright, so Disarming Voice, not going to be able to take out anything because there's a shield involved, of course. What happens when I get distracted by a lot of clicks in my ear, but we're going to take out that poor little flower, and that's going to be a good game. Well played. You know, distracted, man. Mirror lead in the next match. I'm not sure how we handle this one. This is kind of awkward because you have a Gyarados in the back. I imagine both players probably have the Gyarados in the back. So the nice thing about this mirror is that you literally can go mirror shot at each other until you guys are within Wild Charge range, and at that point, then you just go for it. Now, I think that you could get away with running Flash Cannon in this meta. Nobody's expecting Flash Cannon, and I honestly feel like Flash Cannon would just be such a good move to use, because everyone thinks you're going to hit with a mirror shot. No, slap them with a Flash Cannon and send all the ice and anything and the fairies, send them all into next week. Now, the opponent comes up with a Haxorus, and Big Howie almost doesn't have the chance to react because that Wild Charge debuff almost allowed Haxorus to clean out that Magnezone in a moment's notice. But even a Dragon Claw is going to be more than enough to take out this Haxorus, but instead Big Howie is looking for a farm down, going to shield this Breaking Swipe, and even with a double debuffed attack stat, these superpowers are still going to threaten both shields off of this Magnezone. So the opponent's got to think very carefully about what they're going to come in with. I imagine they've probably got something in the back, like a, you know, it's got to be a Gyarados or something. Otherwise, they would have probably swapped. Because if Haxorus is in the back, they've definitely got two stronger answers. So whatever's in the back's got to be weak to zone. He had the Wild Charge loaded and ready to go. The opponent is saving two shields, and here's the Gyarados right in the back, just as we expected. All Big Howie's got to do is get both shields off of this opponent, and the Wild Charge will clap at least 16 Gyaradoses and their children off the face of this planet. So we're going to go for the crunch right away here, hoping to get that debuff. There's a message from XehrFelrose. That is my patron Discord. Again, y'all, just join it. It's so much fun in there. We have a lot of great and interesting people that all help each other get better at this game together. And I'll let it speak for itself. There's a link in the description. As I said, you guys get access to everything early on before it hits YouTube. It's just, I cannot say enough just how wonderful it is in there. So able to get that farm down. Did you see that as I was shilling myself? Some excellent plays were made. Wonderful gameplay. So Haxorus on the lead, not where we're used to seeing it. Gyarados is going to come in, and a Togekiss swaps in. Why am I not surprised? Hello, Togekiss. We don't miss you. Togekiss recently got that Aura Sphere update, so this is very, very dangerous for the Magnezone, even though they typically will run Flamethrower otherwise. Really good move timing by Big Howie, by the way. Something that I think he's one of my students that I've taught in the past. Man hit Legend not too long after he and I started having sessions together, so I think that he's turned into quite the excellent battler. So I'm more than happy to make this shoutcast today because I think it's just so much fun to watch some of these students of mine play these games, especially when I remember how they were performing when we first met. Wild Charge into this extra drill is such a painful thing to have to do, but it's necessary. It puts it into a range now, hopefully, where even these Dragon Breaths, going straight Dragon Claw is possible here. You can possibly 2-shield and take out this Excadrill. That's the play we're going to go for. The opponent has to shield something at some point. You can even no-shield this Rock Slide because it's not going to KO. It does about 55-60% or so, and the opponent's going to be able to start throwing more Rock Slides, but now that Excadrill's low enough that look at it. Like we said, you can just shred through the rest of it with the Dragon Claws, or the Dragon Breaths. And then that Haxorus sure has something to worry about, because it's going to have to eat a Dragon Claw after the shield comes out. The opponent cannot get to a Breaking Swipe right away. And this is just good. This is a good game. This is a very, very strong example. Oh, no, they get to it anyway. That's terrible. I was going to say that's a very strong example of why Dragonite is so strong in the meta, but then in comes the freaking Haxorus, winning CMP, I think, or getting there just one turn sooner. That was a near win turned into a tragic loss. Very well played by both players here. Very good game. So here we've got Magnezone into Gyarados. Again, this is what you like to see. I think Gyarados is on like every team. I literally think it's on every team. It just feels like it is. So gonna do the exact same thing as we saw prior. Again, that's one of the things that I teach all of my students is consistency. If you find something that works, continue to play that same way going forward, because that's always going to yield the best results by trying to control the things that you can control. And that's a free tip for you if you haven't coached with me. I definitely think that if you're looking to improve at this game, it's always worth at least one shot. Doesn't have to be with me. I'm an advocate of, get coaching from who you like. I will always say, you know what, come to me because, obviously you help support me. It's fine. All the money that I get from the coaching and the Patreon always goes to help support my family, gets the kids their birthday gifts, gets, my wife a lovely day at the spa because she deserves it, let's be honest, after dealing, having to watch the kids and everything. So it's just little things, right? So we got Mirror Shots flying against this Mamoswine. I've seen enough Mamoswine to think that this isn't bad. The Mamoswine does not appreciate having Shadow Mirror Shots thrown at it. And just think if that was Flash Cannon. Ooh, boy, I would have loved to see that. Avalanche does do a fair amount of damage to the Mamoswine, but Aqua Tail is CMP'd here. Looking for a farm down by undercharging the Aqua Tail here. Interesting play. Gyarados is going to come in and try to Dragon Breath down, but before we can get there, Gyarados is going to get a crunch off. And at this point, I think it's just a matter of, I don't think they get to a crunch or an Aqua Tail in time. This thing, look at how much damage the Sparks are doing. You just get to the Mirror Shot, you take it out, and that's it. That's a good game. That's a good game. Well played. Love the Magnezone, man. The sweep. The Magnezone just so strong in this meta right now, I feel. And then I say that and we get an Excadrill lead. So we're going to switch immediately into the Gyarados after an accidental overtap. The opponent's going to easily be able to get to this Rock Slide before Gyarados can get to a charge move. And they can get a free chunk off this Gyarados and guarantee switch, which is honestly what's really important here for them. So I don't even think, even if you shield the Rock Slide, I don't think it helps. So this is an interesting situation where I don't know if there's really a strong chance here. This is just kind of like hard counter with a hard counter swap in that just completely rolls you with the energy. So you can't really come in with Magnezone and do much. You'd have to shield this up because it's probably a superpower, and then you're going to have to shield up, or not shield up, but you're going to have to try and overfarm just enough to the point where that Dragonite doesn't get to a move. And oh man, how he's counting like no one's business right now, able to get to the Mirror Shot right before that superpower would have gone off. And we're throwing a Wild Charge into the Excadrill because why not? His Dragonite, as we saw prior, can definitely chew through an Excadrill with that chunk of HP missing, that actually makes that possible. So we're going to see what's in the back if the opponent decides not to swap out. There's a Gyarados. It's a waterfall Gyarados, making this a very, very playable game. Aqua Tail's going to come through and is going to get the shield here because you have to shield this, unfortunately. But all these extra, you know, waterfalls are going to require, or all the extra turns that are going to build up. Goodness gracious, I can't think. Because waterfall is such a slow, fast move, it's going to allow the Dragonite to build up extra Dragon Claw energy and keep throwing these moves. And unfortunately, not quite able to get there. Now the question really is this Magnezone going to be able to take out the Excadrill with a Wild Charge? And I don't think it's going to be able to, because the opponent's got a shield. This is kind of it. So, unfortunate, but this is definitely a loss because that's Wild Charge is not going to take it out. But we might as well get the shield while we're at it, right? So the opponent shields that up and is going to throw the drill run, and that's going to be a good game. Unfortunate loss, but well played to both players. I don't think that there was any win condition there whatsoever. I think Big Howie was unfortunately just kind of screwed from start to finish. You can't really do much against a hard counter team that difficult. Now, Snorlax comes in. Shadow Snorlax. So Shadow Snorlax, for those unaware, if your Gyarados is best buddied, I think it still flips Shadow Snorlax and a best buddy Snorlax. But if your Snorlax is best buddied or Shadow, I believe it flips non-best buddied Gyarados, if that's what I'm not mistaken. But I definitely think that switch is important here because you don't want the Chandelure to be doing fire damage against the Magnezone. You'd much prefer to have the Dragonite on it. So Big Howie is going to be counting out those licks, and he's going to throw that Aqua Tail right before Snorlax gets to a move, and the opponent is not going to be able to get to another Body Slam. They're not going to shield up, and now the Chandelure comes in to try and get this farm down, but has to shield in order to do it, and actually has to shield again because those Incinerates are not doing enough damage to take out the Gyarados. This is worst case scenario for the opponent, having to double shield in order to get through that farm down. They're going to throw a Shadow Ball here for sure, and doesn't shield the Shadow Ball. This is really, really important because now the Porygon... I'm sorry, the what? Dude, mad respect to this person running Porygon Z. I've seen Porygon Z, but unfortunately, that's just painful, dude. So, this is definitely a win here at this point. You can shield, you can go for the Wild Charge, you can no shield, you can go for the Dragonites, taking it out, doesn't really matter. That's a good game right there. Well, Porygon Z, dude, I love it. Alright, Magnezone into Metagross. This is not bad because you're resisting the steel damage, but the opponent's going to come in with a Snorlax, and as we've seen in the past against the Snorlax save swap, Big Howie 1 is going to throw that Shadow Boosted Wild Charge into the Snorlax, take a ton of damage off of it, or usually just gets a shield. Dragonite's going to come in and is going to be able to start chewing through this Snorlax and throw Superpowers, Dragon Claws, whatever it so well pleases, into the fat Snorlax. We're going to see how he does. It's just building up energy at this point. I mean, that's not really much else you can really talk about. It's like, oh boy, there goes Dragonite going for some more Dragon Breaths. Like, all right, this is super... It is what it is. So we got to have the shield here. The opponent did have enough energy for a couple Body Slams, so we definitely don't want to let Dragonite go down here. We definitely, as I say definitely so many times, Dragon Claw comes through, and we're going to go for another one. You have to maintain switch advantage here, or flip it in such a case. Because in this case, you know, you really need to make sure that you're able to keep whatever you'd prefer to have on Metagross, because if the opponent's running like, hey, he just gives up switch, he doesn't care. All right, Big Howie 1's an absolute Giga Chad, gives up switch, goes straight for the Gyarados, doesn't really matter. I think he knows what he's doing here more so than I would because he's the one playing the team this week. So Crunch is going to go through. This could get a shield from this Dragonite or not. If it gets the defense drop, that's huge. Gets the dude, I wish I could get defense drops like that, man. I never get defense drops. So I think maybe you try to go for the Aqua Tail there anyway, or maybe he intentionally decided to let this go to get the farm down on the Magnezone, which actually might have been the play here. So letting him get this farm down is basically going to let him get the 2 Wild Charges easily against the... doesn't even get to a Superpower. This is over and the opponent knows it. That's a good game, well played. Opponent concedes the match, and we're going to move into the next one. Magnezone on the lead versus a Primarina. You couldn't ask for a better, more dominating lead than this. And the opponent's playing Waterfall Primarina, so this isn't exactly great for Big Howie. Again, this is exactly why I think I would prefer to have my Magnezone with Flash Cannon so that I could play it in debuff. But nope, they just let it go. They just let it go. They just said, I'm done. Person's running ABA Water. The Gyarados is going to swap in, let the Magnezone clear the debuff. The opponent's going to have a Gyarados come in to meet it. And honestly, if they didn't swap out of that Magnezone in the lead, I don't know what else they've got. I wonder if they're just triple weak. I bet you they got a Togekiss or something on the back. I do. There was a bug on my leg. It was weird. Oh, I was like, what is that? Hey. Anyway, Magnezone comes in, farms down, has 2 shields, and the opponent has Excadrill on the back. This is a lot less great than we think, but with these wild charges, the opponent's going to get a lot less farm than you think. No, doesn't matter. They can get farm anyway because the switch clock's up. And the opponent concedes because the Dragonite can simply just go for double superpower or mow through it with Dragon Claws. Doesn't matter. Magnezone on the lead versus Togekiss. Once again, couldn't ask for a better lead. And they are staying in, meaning there's definitely a Gyarados in the back. The opponent goes in, safe swaps the Haxorus, trying to catch that wild charge, but they've got Dragon Tail Haxorus, which is a really interesting pick here. Not quite as quick to those moves as Counter, but definitely still able to get to them quickly at 12 turns versus 10 turns. But Crunch is going to come through here, and because we're running Dragon Breath Gyarados, that's going to take it out. And then there's a Metagross in the back, so we're going to be able to get to this Crunch here before the opponent can farm down. And this is just not looking good for the opponent. All you have to do is keep Magnezone on the Togekiss, and honestly, Magnezone does well against this entire team. So Dragonite can easily just eat a Meteor Mash here, do some chip damage. You're just looking to give Magnezone 2 shields and get some multiple charge moves against that Togekiss, and that's going to be it. The opponent is not going to be able to do what they wanted. They are triple weak to the Magnezone, and this is exactly why, ladies and gentlemen, I made the call to my Patreon Discord to say, guys, Magnezone is the sauce. And if I wasn't so smitten with my Shadow Garchomp, I would definitely be running this exact same team right now. In fact, I think I might. I might just run it today. I think I might do it. Mirror Shot takes out the opponent's Togekiss, and the Metagross is going to come in. Doesn't matter what you do at this point. You either farm down with the Dragonite or you farm down with the with the with the Magnezone. Doesn't matter. Lets it go. No shields remaining. Doesn't matter because Meteor Mash is resisted, and that's a good game. Opponent trying to 2-shield flex in the wrong direction, and that's going to be a good one. So let's move into this next game. I believe this is going to be the final game here. We've got a Gyarados on the lead. This is exactly what you want to see. I don't think we've lost maybe 1 or 2 leads out of all 10 of these battles. Mirror Shot is going to fly off here into this Mamoswine that's come in, and since it's a non-shadow, this is only going to do about 45%. Now, the nice thing here is that Gyarados can easily tank an Avalanche and get to an Aqua Tail, so the opponent will not be able to get to 2 moves here. Get into this Aqua Tail, cutting them off instead of letting them get to another Avalanche. Not going to look for that farm down at all. Opponent gives a shield here, so now we're in control. If we can shield up, we can just farm down, I believe, at this point. If not, very close to it. Definitely going to get to another Aqua Tail before the opponent gets to another move, but they are not going to be able to get there because they get farmed down. And Gyarados is going to come in and try to farm down our Gyarados. But Crunch is going to land. Going to do some damage. No defense drop, but even shields, and the Gyarados has some extra energy. Not going to look to bring in the Dragonite here. I don't think you just come in with a Magnezone anyway. Magnezone, even if Shadow, can easily tank at least 1 Crunch or Aqua Tail. Doesn't really mind it. The Crunch is going to come through. Does a fairly good amount of damage, but we're just going to farm down here because he knows he can. And then here comes an Excadrill. Goodness me, the opponent has the Excadrill going for the Mirror Shot, trying to lower the attack, but doesn't succeed, unfortunate. But easily just going to go for a superpower here, and that should end this entire Excadrill's existence. Because it is Steel type, it is squishy, and it cannot handle a superpower, so we're going to tank 1 Rock Slide, then it looks like we're going to shield up another one, and I think that this is easily going to be able to get here to double superpower, but you could go for the Dragon Claw bait, which you have to at this point, I think, because they're very close to another Rock Slide. Dragon Claw gets the shield, and the superpower comes out immediately afterwards to get rid of this Excadrill, and that is already, that's a good game, man. There's nothing else to it, because that Gyarados has no HP, and that's it. So, awesome games here. Really showcasing Shadow Magnezone, ending on a strong 5-0 to get back up to near veteran range again. Part of my Discord community here, Patreon Discord. You can find the link, should be appearing pretty soon here. If you want to check us out, join us. We'd love to have you and get you access to all these teams, strategies, everything before it hits YouTube. And that's going to be it from me, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. We're going to catch you in the next video. Bye-bye.